Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I very much want to welcome all of you to this conference, to the evening part of the Innocracy, the so-called Golden Autumn Night. We are very super excited to have you here. We are looking forward to a great evening with political debate, with a keynote, and also with good food, drinks, music, and dance. So, very glad you are here, you could make it and spend the evening with us. A few days ago, the journalist Bernd Ulrich published a remarkable comment in the German weekly Die Zeit that I want to share with you. He said, and I quote, "The 21st century is no longer about the old dualism, dictator versus democracy, the state versus the individual, capital versus labor. On the contrary, this century will certainly be much more about the escalation of an opposition that until now has been secondary, specifically between humans and nature. And this categorical change is easy to understand and difficult to accept. The other is not a person that someone can fight against or negotiate with, but rather nature itself, which obviously does not fight, but instead reacts. The nature also does not speak, it at most cries." And he closes by saying, "The prevention of climate risk is not addressed adequately by the grammar of the 20th century." So many of you have been debating for the last 7 or so hours how to innovate or even transform democracies, our democracies. Why innovate and transform? For me, Bernd Ulrich's statement I just cited nails it. The democratic institutions of our modern state were obviously designed for the challenges of a different era. Of course, we have to protect the democratic institutions against threats from, for example, right-wing populism. But also we have to state that obviously there is an inability of the current democratic system to actually meet those key drivers of disruptive change we were discussing all the day, such as global warming, the digital revolution, but also growing social inequality. And this leads to at least 2 conclusions. We have to challenge our democratic institutions and processes. We have to rethink what real progress is about, first. And second, more than that, after analyzing that, we have to take action. And we have to change politics, and not for the change, and that's important, not for the change's sake, but for the values that are essential to us and matters most to us. And in the end, it comes down to the core question of how to do it. And as our debates during the day showed, that there is obviously not an easy answer, but it's also clear there will be some parts where we talk about incremental progress, incremental innovation, but I mentioned digital revolution, I mentioned global warming. We also need, obviously, radical shifts and a major transformation. A major transformation how we can organize or reorganize our society. So the day for me and for us, it was a call. I think we are called as societies, as communities, as organizations, also as individuals. No matter where we stand within our societies or organizations, we are called to challenge the status quo, to rediscover our transformative potential and our power to change things, and advance, and I repeat, advance what we care about the most, our liberal democracy, our values for a more democratic, sustainable, and inclusive future. Also, we as a progressive think tank, of course, we want to contribute to that. And that's why I want to briefly present how we structure our activities within the 3 programs, and especially I want to introduce 3 inspiring people from our team. So, just check the microphone. I want to start with our first program, Future of Democracy, and I want to ask Paulina Fröhlich, the head of this program, what are the leading questions we are doing in this program?
Okay, so the leading questions of
Please
our
stand
program.
up if you want.
Oh, right, sure. Hello, everyone. Right, future of democracy. So 3 main questions we ask ourselves concerning that topic are: what are progressive approaches to tackle the challenges we are facing? How are the challenges interwoven? And thirdly, we ask, what needs to be changed about the basic framework of liberal democracy in order to sustainably stop the homegrown or the homemade problems?
Thank you so much. I hand over to Maria. She's head of our program, International Dialogue.
Thank you, Dominic. Yes, hello, good evening. Das Progressive Zentrum is all about dialogue. And so, in the spirit of international intercultural exchange, we would like to address the three following questions. First of all, in what Europe and world we would like to live? Secondly, what phenomena affect our everyday life regardless of our nationality or citizenship, and how do we want to approach them? And third, last but not least, what actors and stakeholders need and have to be included to shape an inclusive and progressive foreign policy. Not easy, I know, but we're on it. Stay tuned. Back to you, Dominic.
Thank you so much, Maria. And inclusiveness is the key word. I hand over to Florian Ramft. He's head of our program, Structure.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So our program Structural Change focuses on a changing economic and social model, which is heavily impacted by 2 factors. One are new technologies, and the other one is climate change. So within this work program, we ask ourselves 3 questions, and we're seeking practical solutions to how we can firstly create a socially and ecologically responsible economic model which does not further exacerbate social and economic inequalities. The second question we want to address in this program is how we can build an economic model that also yields social benefits which promote social cohesion and inclusiveness in our societies. And the third question we want to tackle and address is how we can promote and foster individual well-being and security to kind of address the anxieties and fears of those people who are most affected by economic change.
Thank you so much, Florian. And let me use this opportunity to say, Florian and Paulina and Maria, I'm very happy and honored to work with you and looking forward for the next month. So, for all of you who are interested in our work and what we are doing, we have one publication where we put it down, wrote it down, and published it a couple of weeks ago, and you find it at the registration. It's about our mission and our vision.